Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Adhvaitha Decoding Reality podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to uncover the nature of reality, to understand different dimensions, different layers of this complex, multifaceted reality, and to discover who we truly are. We will explore various concepts and various aspects of this existence in this podcast, and we will talk to various people with an open mind and a curious heart to understand their perspectives and their experiences with reality. All this to decode reality. Today we have with us Barbara With. Barbara is an international peace activist. She's an award-winning composer and performer, and she's the co-founder of Conflict Revolution, a revolutionary way to resolve conflicts of the psyche based on her work channeling Albert Einstein. She has authored around 7 books so far on metaphysics, including Imagining Einstein. So, today we will understand a lot of new concepts on channeling, on psychic abilities, on metaphysics, and more. And we will decode a new layer of reality. We will understand this reality from the perspective of a psychic channel. With that, let us welcome Barbara to our podcast. Welcome, Barbara, to the Adhvaitha Decoding Reality podcast.
Well, thank you, Sojan, for having me. I'm very excited to have these conversations.
Yeah, same
So,
here. Let's start with your life so far. What has brought you here? From where did it all start? And like, if you can, please start with what exactly is channeling for those who do not know about it.
yes, let me start with that. So, the best way I can describe channeling is when
Yeah,
someone writes a song, and I am a
yeah,
songwriter. So, when I
yeah,
write a song, I go into the non physical and
yeah.
I listen for the song. And
Hmm.
then I come back here and I've got my piano and my voice and I recreate it here. That's kind of what
Yeah,
musicians do, and that's channeling. What
yeah.
and that's how I started using that ability was through songwriting. Very young, at 5 years old, I climbed up on the piano and I was writing songs
Okay,
by the time I was 12, and I left high school and went right on the road as a singer, songwriter, and
okay,
performer. So that
okay.
was the opening door to then eventually
Uh-huh.
do, I think what your listeners might be curious about is then how do you go from singing
Yeah,
to Einstein?
yeah. Correct.
And
There's a big gap. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So when I was in high school, I had a
yeah,
friend who had a mother who did channeling.
yeah, yeah.
We didn't call it channeling.
Hmm.
She just, you have to come and see what my mother does. And her
Uh,
very serene mother would sit and close her eyes and light a candle, and there was a picture of Jesus, and she would talk
uh,
to us. And it was like she
okay,
was could see right into our soul. She was saying things that were like not about
okay,
what's going to happen tomorrow, but
okay,
about who we were and what we were going through. And
okay.
that was my first introduction to that kind of
Channeling.
channeling we're talking about, like mediums.
Okay. Okay. And what exactly was that person doing? Like she was channeling a particular entity or
She said she would close her eyes and it felt like
okay.
she went into outer space and
Okay.
listened for the words, and then
Okay.
she was an antenna picking
Okay.
up your higher power and then somehow bringing it back and articulating it to your human mind. That's how
Okay.
she described herself. So there wasn't anybody else.
Okay. Okay. Got
It
it.
was more like an art, right?
Okay. Okay. So that was sort of your first introduction to this channeling and all metaphysics of it.
Yes. And I saw her maybe
Huh?
once a year for many, many years, and would she would give me a reading and I would take
Hmm.
notes, and then I would write down at that time what I thought it meant.
Okay.
And then I would go live my life and
Okay.
see what it really meant. Like, what did it
Uh,
really mean? Not what you thought it
mhm.
meant, not what you heard. So that
Correct.
was a lot of my early training into slowly. Then when I started automatic writing one day, it was very spontaneous. I
Okay.
was writing a letter to someone, and suddenly my hands felt like they were
Okay.
taken over, and
Huh.
they started saying something completely different, and of course much more loving and compassionate than I had been
Mm.
writing.
Huh.
And I knew what it was, see, because from all my singing and then the channeling, and but I still was
Hmm.
taken aback, like, what is this? And so I
Hmm.
asked, I was typing,
Hmm. Hmm.
who are you?
Hmm.
And they said, sound. I mean, I get it. I live
Hmm.
in the world of sound as a songwriter,
Yeah.
a young songwriter.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
that was okay with me because I was gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
an antenna. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but what they
Uh,
wrote though was
okay.
so loving and compassionate about me, because I had a lot of
Okay.
conflicts and shame and dark stuff, and they reframed what was going on and made it really meaningful and kind of
Okay.
magical, and it kind of got me like, really, I saw myself in this whole new light.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
I would kind of like that a lot, to finally feel, you know like I'm taking care of my needs in some way. So
Correct.
yeah, I started to
Hmm.
do channeling for my friends.
So from there, your journey started, uh, like
Yes,
as a
that was
channel.
it.
But the way I understand it, the channeling is basically using our physical bodies as an instrument for something which is not physical, right? We are tuning into something outside of us, to which we do not have direct access to, whether it be a sort of intelligence of a higher dimension, or whether it be some people, channel those who are dead. So something which we do not have access to, but we get a temporary access to that, what subtle entity. So that is channeling. But first of all, there are a lot of methods, and there are a lot of I think types of channeling. I'm not an expert on this. So can you please explain what exactly you do, and the method you use, and the outcomes of it?
Yes. So the method that I used was the one that my mentor did. I
Hmm.
close my eyes,
Hmm.
get out of the way. I
Hmm.
imagine that my ego,
Hmm.
which is going to keep
Coming
yakety
back.
yakking,
Hmm.
going, I shrink it down to this little, like,
Hmm.
manifestation of my ego, and I put it down a little chair over here. And that leaves all
Hmm.
this space. And
Hmm.
then I listen, and
Hmm.
I can't tell you the mystery of
How it happens.
how how it tunes in. It's all electromagnetics, I'm
Hmm.
imagining, in
Yeah.
some level of more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and if I were to show you
Hmm.
Einstein's unified field map, I could show
Yeah.
you where it was on the map. But we all
Okay.
have it. We just
Okay.
don't tune into it. It's like, the old radios,
Okay.
you dial the radio and it'd be
Yeah.
scratchy all the way until you got to the one where it's tuned to and you could hear it,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
you'd
Yeah.
move on. Well, that station is still there. So those dead
Huh.
people, that energy is still there. It's just being able to tune into the
We don't
frequency
have
of it.
direct access to it. Like most of us don't have access to it, because of our identification with our subtle bodies. So I study a lot of ancient Indian scriptures and Vedanta and texts like that. So they elaborately explain the nature of reality in a very scientific way. The way it is described in those scriptures is, first of all, we have a physical body with blood and bones, and then there is something called as the subtle body, which the Western teachings call as spirit or soul, or something like that. And then there is called something called as the causal body, which is very deep. But when we speak about talking to the dead, we are basically making a temporary connection with that subtle body of those who have left their physical bodies. So I think that is what is happening. So when you said you were channeling sound, was that a higher dimension being? Like, what was it exactly?
When they said they were sound, I
Hmm.
felt my body relax and not question what that actually meant. It
Hmm,
just
hmm, hmm,
seemed to me that now you have to understand, I grew up
hmm,
channeling, right?
hmm,
Music. So
hmm,
I had this natural ability to go into the nothing and
hmm,
listen and pull stuff out
hmm.
and then articulate
Yeah.
it. So
Like
they
this
were
is when you
another
say you. Oh, just 1 minute. When you say
yeah,
you were channeling music, you mean intuition, right? Like what we call, or it was it something else? Like were
music.
you music,
I'm a
music?
com-
Yeah,
yeah, I'm a composer and a
yeah,
songwriter.
yeah, yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
So, are you calling your own intuitions as channeling, or was it? Did you physically feel like something was coming through you, or how do you
I
describe it?
I physically felt like I left my body and went into
Okay.
outer space. It
Ha ha
That's
ha.
what it felt like, and I
Ha.
could hear like the first 4 bars of a song. Would
Okay.
you be my alpha? And I would come back and I would play, Would you be my alpha? And then like 2
Okay.
more bars would come out. And then I go
Okay.
back up and I'd listen. So that's the
Okay.
process I was doing just intuitively and naturally. Why? I don't know. I was
Okay.
gifted, I guess. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay,
But
got it.
it's this,
But no one taught this to you. This came to you. Okay.
yeah.
And this is and the way you're describing it, it is not intuition, right? It is not your own self that is like it felt to you like something outside of you was.
Well, it did. But first of
Hmm.
all, as I started that process, I was 13 and 14. So I don't know if I
Okay.
had a concept
Remember,
of
yeah. Yeah, got it.
just so much being, I was still like
Hmm.
enamored of being in the process of it,
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
right? I'm so young and I can do this, and out come these songs
hmm,
that are
hmm, hmm, hmm,
whatever. But as I
hmm,
look back on it, I think it was
hmm,
there was a great
hmm,
depth of emotion from my
hmm,
upbringing, which was abusive,
hmm.
etc. And I
Okay.
need to get that out. I need to get that
Hmm,
emotion out of me so I could sing these songs and
hmm.
get it, at least through my singing of it, I could get it out of me. But in the
Okay.
process, I learned this way to operate in the
Uh,
non-physical, we call it,
ha,
and
ha, ha. But
intuitive, I guess.
yeah.
I had a question for you too, but
Uh,
you go.
yeah, yeah. When did it become your your life's purpose for you to be this, right? Like at what point did you decide this is going to be the rest of my life?
I had been channeling for 5 or 6 years, had
Mm-hmm.
clients, and I
Mm-hmm.
decided I wanted to channel for a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading Edgar Casey and
Yeah.
Jane
Uh-huh.
Roberts. What would they
Yeah.
say? What is this? And
Mm-hmm.
people would come for readings on a regular basis, and we'd never talk
Mm-hmm.
about what they said. They just seemed to get something from the information, which was, I got it, I get it too from it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I never questioned. So in
Mm-hmm.
1993, I decided
Mm-hmm.
to pull together a group, and I found these women found me, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Kim and Teresa, and all of
Okay.
their friends showed up for
Okay.
readings just through referrals. And
Okay.
it dawned on me, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
here's the group. And it
Mm-hmm.
dawned on them at the same time, oh, we have this group. Maybe she'd come and have some
Mm-hmm.
wine and we could talk about all this stuff. And so I
Yeah.
did my first group channel in December of 1993. And that was
Okay.
really, I couldn't have told you. They told us, the
Huh.
voices who turned out to be
Huh.
angels told us
Okay.
that we have a mission. And the
Okay.
mission was world peace, one person at a time, starting with
Okay.
you,
Okay.
We are a bunch of angels, they said.
Huh.
And this was
Okay.
new because I was an antenna. But
Okay.
okay, whatever,
Huh.
let's listen.
Yeah.
They were going to
Yeah.
teach us this revolutionary way to
Okay.
resolve conflict that was also a
Okay.
pathway to global peace. And
Okay.
that they had this theory, but they needed human beings to test it
Okay.
on real
Okay.
life
Okay.
conflict. So the
Huh.
three of us
Hmm.
became the psychic sorority and
Hmm.
dedicated ourselves to we'd have groups, record the sessions, transcribe the sessions, and then
Hmm.
see what is this
Hmm.
revolutionary process they're talking about and how can we make it happen. And of
Hmm.
course, we had our first fight, we had our first
Hmm.
conflict that we could
Hmm.
go to that transcript, and it told us exactly in that moment, if
Hmm.
you're involved in a conflict, the
Hmm.
root of your part of it is inside you.
Hmm.
And we all stopped because we were all pointing our fingers. Well, if you only you would,
Hmm.
well, if only you would, if only you would. And we all stopped
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
instantly came back to the table. I was
Hmm.
now going, okay, so I
Hmm.
probably should have.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
whole dynamic of the conflict shifted
Hmm.
just
It's
like that.
about taking responsibility with for ourselves. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. But the
Hmm.
way in which we were brought together to test this. Anyway, so
Hmm.
yes, my first
Hmm.
book are
Hmm.
these diaries of this time period that documented the true story
Hmm.
of what happened, because they told us in the beginning,
Hmm. Hmm.
leave a paper trail, because later on,
Okay.
this is the
Uh-huh.
history of how we got here today. So
Hmm.
that was the first book, Diaries of a Psychic Sorority. And
Okay.
so
And
now I
and
knew I
these
could talk to angels, I guess.
so these angels are higher dimensional beings. So basically, you had been channeling them for years through when you say the readings that you were doing with your clients. It was basically this, right? It's the
It
channeling
was
the higher.
exactly that, but I didn't call them
Hmm.
angels. I never said it was
Hmm.
anybody. So
Okay. So
it's
it basically from okay. You didn't have any story for that. What was happening? Yeah. Hmm.
I didn't. I just had voices, and if
Hmm.
you found value in having a reading, I was
Yeah.
glad to
It's
be
good.
there. But
Hmm.
otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah, who cared? It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, correct. And I always wanted to know this. Do you, when you channel something like that, do you lose a part of yourself, or how, what happens to you, your mind and your identity when you channel?
well, I think Einstein eventually will get to that part of the story. But in the unified
Yeah,
field,
that. Uh-huh.
if you imagine the unified field, we have
Mm-hmm.
these spinning strings of gravitational
Mm-hmm.
waves that
Mm-hmm.
are you, mine are mine, but of course we're rooted in the same source. But
Mm-hmm.
Einstein has always said he just rides my gravitational wave. So
Okay.
it's like we share the wave uh,
Okay.
while it's a wave, and then when
Mm-hmm.
it goes, you named all those bodies, right? Your study, all the different astral bodies until
Physical
you get
body and
until
subtle
you
body. Yeah, yeah.
yeah until you get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the physical body, and
Yeah, yeah.
those fit in the map, the unified field map, which is good to see. But
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Okay,
so
okay.
but when you get to the body here, like if I was
Huh.
channeling him right now, you
Physical.
would just see me. You wouldn't see him, you
Yeah.
just see me. But
Yeah, because
so I don't
that
know,
that
how is
aspect is
that?
subtle. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
that is the
meeting
subtle
in
body.
right, so we're meeting in the subtle body.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
The exchange
But
of information takes place on that level.
but you retain your own self at that point. So that kind of that is just an interaction that happens with between yourself, between your subtle self and the other being.
I think
Yeah.
so.
So is it like having a conversation like this, like how we are having a conversation right now, or is it an inflow of information that is coming to you, or is it a two-way dialogue that is happening?
Sometimes it's more like a jazz improvised saxophone solo.
Okay.
When you listen to an improvised jazz, you're
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like that. I'm following something. Other
Yeah.
times I
Mm.
see pictures that are clear that then I can
Mm.
describe.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like a ticker tape, like across
Uh,
the bottom of the,
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it really is a beautiful art. It,
Okay.
I'm humbled
Got it.
to have
To
it.
be that.
So,
How would you describe a psychic? What exactly is being psychic? Because I think there are many elements to it, right? Like they call it telepathy, telekinesis. So there are a lot of things, but channeling is one aspect of being a psychic, I think. So how would you describe a psychic?
well, like you say, there's
Hmm.
a lot of different ways people manifest. I have a friend who was
Hmm.
in the CIA and did
Hmm.
remote viewing.
Oh.
So she could zero in on physical forms, however they do remote viewing. I had
Oh.
another friend who, if you gave her your ring,
Hmm.
she could just look right at you and tell you everything,
Hmm.
you know, like what happened in your childhood. Um,
Hmm.
then there's people who really specifically talk to dead people.
Hmm.
You know, here we have someone called the Long Island Psychic, Long Island
Hmm.
Medium. She's this
Hmm.
kind of New York woman that walks around telling people that their dead relatives are. So
Uh,
there's all kinds of ways it can
kinds of.
manifest.
Hmm. Correct.
And mine just happens not to be
Hmm.
um, focusing on questions like, is my boyfriend coming back? Or,
Hmm.
you know, where did I leave my keys?
Hmm.
My gift of it is to bring forward this information from Einstein from afterlife that is
Hmm.
enormous. And
Hmm.
I think the music specially trained me to be
Hmm.
able to bring back this vision like we have through the years. And now
Correct.
its time really seems to have come. So,
Correct. And you mentioned Jane Roberts, the Set Speaks material. And like that, I think in the contemporary teachers, there is Abraham Hicks teachings. So there are a lot of channels, but they channel an alien being, right? Like some extraterrestrial being which wants to help humanity, and they want to do it through, and they do it through a channel. So that is one aspect of channeling, that is one way of channeling.
yes,
Mm.
yes. And like the Pleiadians, they're
Haha.
from
Okay.
Sirius, or I don't know where, I'm not a Pleiadian expert, but yes,
Okay. Okay.
there's that as
Yeah,
well.
there are many teachers like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And the
yeah, I hmm,
Oh, the thing about the work that I do with Einstein, which we can get to how we got there, but
yeah, we'll get that. Yeah.
these are people who lived before.
Huh.
These
Yeah,
are
on this
people who,
planet.
in their lives
Mm.
before, they worked for
Uh,
peace. They had these
uh,
same concerns. They had the same work that's being
mm,
carried on now. So I
mm,
love that
mm.
part about this group.
Correct. Correct. And are you familiar with the raw material, the law of one? It is again, it's a channeled material about the nature of reality, but it goes very deep into different aspects of existence. Have you heard of it?
I just had an incredible
Uh,
weekend workshop in Austin, Texas, with a
uh-huh.
group of 8 women who had been
Okay.
studying the law of one
Uh,
together for two
okay.
years, like every single weekend. So I
Okay.
got a
Okay.
big introduction to it, and they found
Okay. So,
Einstein's addition
okay.
was
Okay. Because for many years I have been studying a philosophy called as Advaita Vedanta. So it is a teaching of the Upanishads. If you heard of Upanishads, they are around 10,000 years old, which came to rishis and yogis of ancient India. And it seems at higher states of consciousness, at deep levels of meditation, these knowledge sort of came to them. So no one created this knowledge, but it just came to them, and it's being passed on from generation to generation for 10,000 years in India. So this teaching of Advaita Vedanta is what modern Western terminology is called as non-dualism. So basically, there is one absolute reality, consciousness, and everything else is a manifestation of consciousness. So I've been studying this, and I came across the teachings of the law of one, and it so beautifully coincided. I mean, they use different words and different terminologies, but if we look at every channel, right, the words they use is different, but they are pointing towards the same reality, I feel. So it sort of validates it, because when so many people are speaking about the same thing, I think there must be some truth to it. Yeah.
And because think of how many people are in the world. People
Hmm.
hear it differently. Some people won't hear the Einstein stuff, maybe never hear that, but
Hmm.
they'll
It
hear it
doesn't
this
resonate
way.
with them. Yeah. Hmm.
So,
Correct.
yeah, I totally
Hmm.
agree.
Yeah. And coming to this from the point of view of skeptics, right? So there's a lot of skepticism about all this, and I was one of the biggest skeptics until I had some experiences with all this. But I think channeling as a subject can be validated by science, right? Because let's say, because this is especially when it comes to channeling dead people or something like that, it can be easily tested and validated with science. So why do you think uh, this has not become mainstream yet? Why do you think most of the people on this planet don't know about this, or science has not accepted this?
Well, let's start though first with the skepticism, because I think
Hmm.
skepticism is an absolutely necessary part of science.
Absolutely, yeah.
I,
Hmm.
it's an art form, and I am a proud skeptic. And if you
Hmm.
if you listen to my whole journey, I'm skeptical
Hmm.
the whole way. It
Hmm.
took me a long
Hmm.
time, but it
Hmm.
proved itself. And if it didn't, then it
Hmm.
wasn't true. So I
Correct.
wholeheartedly support
Hmm.
that. I
Hmm.
think this is a time, I have to say, I've been doing this for
Hmm.
35 years
Oh.
faithfully
Hmm.
during
Hmm.
times when, at least in the United States,
Hmm.
peace and unity was kind of a nice idea, but
Hmm.
everyone is being infiltrated with this cultural propaganda that
Hmm.
keeps us all not questioning and
Hmm.
keeps us all floating on the
Hmm.
surface, and then sort of, I call it,
Hmm.
subsumed by the
Hmm. Hmm.
external voices of culture. But
Hmm.
now is a
Hmm.
time, it's hard to admit that it's not there. It's hard. People are
Hmm.
more and more coming to
Hmm.
not only want to talk about it
Hmm.
and have
Hmm.
it out, but understand it
Hmm.
and how
Correct.
does it work.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm excited by that. What's going
Hmm.
on right now
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
everybody's opening
Yeah.
up
Like,
to.
yeah, more and more people are definitely accepting this, but my curiosity was, why has science not accepted it, or why? Because this sort of a thing, I think it can be easily validated, right, through some kind of a close study. Because let's say a person has died, and this has very positive implications to the society and the world, and even for practical applications, let's say to solve a murder case, channeling the person who has died is, like, maybe, hypothetically might be the best solution for it. So why do you think that has not happened, like a scientific study on channeling?
I'm not, I can't say that I know that there hasn't been. I
Hmm.
haven't heard of any because I haven't necessarily
Hmm.
looked for
Hmm.
where are the studies, but I'm sure
Hmm.
there have been. And Edgar Casey
Hmm.
alone did a
Hmm.
lot of documentation
Hmm.
of that
Correct.
work. I just think
Yeah.
culture, as a rule,
Hmm.
you come from a culture. Listen to how far back the roots of
Hmm.
this deep sacred
Tradition.
knowledge that your tradition
Yeah.
goes to. We don't really
Hmm.
have that over here. I think we have one of the
Absolutely.
least spiritual cultures that probably ever
Correct.
walked the planet here right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because the history of
that,
the West is just around 200, 300 years, like whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we have such there's
Hmm.
such turmoil going on, and the
Correct.
more turmoil they foist upon us, the more people
Hmm.
don't pay attention to any of this. However,
Correct.
I
Hmm.
like I said, I think in the past 6 months even, I've seen a
Hmm.
huge uptick on people wanting to know this. Like, what I can become
Yeah.
the change. I can do something internally that might help this.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm
Correct.
ready now.
Uh,
And me too, I'm ready. So
Correct. And I think someone should take this initiative, and because if this comes in the mainstream, I think a lot of positive things can happen in the society. So,
and
and
that is my hope.
mm,
That's my hope
yeah,
as I move forward on this peace tour is I'm reaching out to
absolutely.
specific
Uh,
scientists. Nassim
uh,
Harriman, he's been working on unified
uh,
field theory, and he's very
absolutely.
close. He's getting pieces of it, but if
Uh,
I show him the whole
okay.
thing, who knows what will
Okay.
spark his mind? And
Absolutely.
I think,
Especially, yeah, those scientists who have the scientific mind, right? Like we sort of understanding philosophy is different, but they break it down and they make it acceptable to the large group of society. So yeah, scientists getting this is important. Yeah.
and I have to say, I had one
Mm, mm,
event
mhm,
where I presented to amateur
mm,
scientists, amateur physicists, amateur
mm,
chemists. I thought it
mhm,
was a mistake that they booked
mm,
me because I thought we were going more angely and woo woo, but here were
mm,
these
mm,
scientists. And
mhm,
I said,
mm,
I don't know. I'm not a scientist. All I ever wanted to
mm,
be was a rock star. So,
mhm,
but would you please look at this and tell me what you think?
mm.
I don't care if you
Correct.
believe it's Einstein and the party.
Correct.
I just want to
Correct.
know, is this a viable
Yeah.
thing? Because I
Just
don't know.
objectively
Yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah.
Mm,
And all of them,
mm,
physicist was like, you've
uh,
taken the 0 point gravity theory and you've married it with the blah, 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 blah,
uh,
blah to make the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I don't know. I didn't. It's
uh,
just what he
okay.
told me.
Uh,
And so I'm very, even better,
uh, mm,
ready to face the
correct.
scientists.
Based on my little research on the skeptics, what the skeptics say about channeling, right? So some of the points that came about were, can the claims be independently verified with a close study? And is there any empirical evidence, or could the information have been acquired through normal means? I think this, and another valid point was, can it all be the play of the mind? Because even in the scriptures that I study, mind is described as this very deep and elaborate uh, instrument which has a lot of layers to it. So some critics say that when someone thinks they are channeling something, it is just a hallucination or imagination of their own mind at a different level. It's not that they are not experiencing it, but it is that it's not channeling, it's just imagination at a different level. So what do you say to that?
I have often wondered, because I
Mm-hmm.
have experienced mental health issues in my life
Mm-hmm.
because of this.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Mm-hmm.
often wondered, is this just a huge hallucination of my deepest angst and pain with that complicated mind? And if it
Mm-hmm.
is, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm brilliant, I guess. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, whatever, I
Absolutely.
couldn't
Yeah.
I it wasn't like I'm a
Yeah.
scientist going to find the formula and I got the formula. It's like,
Correct. Mm,
and and yeah,
mm,
it is, you have to look at what it says. It's kind of like I said to those scientists.
mm.
It's like, forget
Yeah.
all that. look at
Yeah,
this
just
and
look at the material.
you tell me
Yeah.
what you think it is. You tell
Hmm.
me. If you think this is
Hmm.
my made up mind after you
Hmm.
know who I
Hmm.
am, meet me like just as a
Hmm.
person.
Hmm.
And one of my partners
Hmm.
in the beginning, the psychic sorority sisters, said the other day,
Hmm.
the reason I
Hmm.
knew that it was
Hmm.
something extraordinary was because
Hmm.
Barbara was a hot
Hmm.
mess at the time.
Hmm.
You know, I didn't come
Hmm.
in to be this spiritual leader. I
Hmm.
wanted to be a rock. I was on my musical career, and this was just something I was doing because it was really curious. And
Hmm.
it so yes, that's
Hmm.
that's my I'd love to be put through some tests. I'd love to
Yeah,
hear what
absolutely.
a
Yeah. I
psychologist
think,
says about.
yeah. Yeah. I think skepticism in everyone is good, and we should not accept anything just like that, right? It is the nature of human intellect, and it will be a disgrace to the intellect if we start accepting everything without questioning it. But then I also think, based on my experience, that we should never dismiss things also just because with a closed mind, because a lot of things that we don't think are real do exist.
And
Yeah.
they'll prove
And
themselves to be or not, right? It'll
yeah,
prove itself to
yeah,
be real or not.
yeah,
So
whether if it is actually useful and if it is actually valuable, then make use of it, or else leave it. That's all. Yeah. Do you think there is any limitations to channeling in terms of based on at what point in time a person died, or anything like that? I'm asking this because I'll talk about my little experience with channeling. So I was absolutely a skeptic, and one day my friend took me to a psychic in India, and the way she did this was different. She was not channeling herself, but she would take someone. She would sort of put her hand on their head, and she would sort of hypnotize them, and she would make that person unconscious, and to that unconscious person, the dead person would, sort of somehow that unconscious person would start speaking, and through that conversations used to happen.
oh
So this is different maybe from what you have seen.
wow, never heard of that before.
Yeah, so I was totally like, when my friend started talking about all this in my college when I was studying, so I was never open to all these things. But then when I witnessed it, right, it all happened in front of in front of me, and to prove me wrong, what that psychic did was, she took my friend, she made her unconscious, like she hypnotized her, and she started speaking about things that she never even, like, she never knew. So
Oh
she started channeling someone. After seeing all that, obviously I couldn't dismiss all that, but yeah, that is one thing that I wanted to say. Yeah, coming to the limitations of that, what happened was, the person who had died used to speak a certain language, but because my friend who was unconscious on the bed right now didn't know that language, so that information was being communicated us through the language of the channel, who was my friend who was lying down. So so that is what psychic explained. There are some limitations to it based on, the language was one of the limitation, and the next time when we tried, she said she couldn't communicate, she couldn't reach that person. So like, what are the limitations of channeling, or and what do you have to say about all this with from your experience?
I think there's two different things. There's an
Hmm.
event, like you're
Hmm.
talking about, an event that's a channeling. And then
Hmm.
there's the nurturing of your intuitive self,
Hmm.
like on a broader level, that
Hmm.
to be able to nurture master yourself,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
become more intuitively guided, more open to the mystery,
Hmm.
more intending. I think
Hmm.
that's what helps grow uh,
Hmm.
trust
Hmm.
in self. And trust in
Hmm.
self is what is essentially needed.
Hmm.
One needs to
Hmm.
trust what one
Hmm.
is doing
Yeah.
to convey trust. And
Hmm.
it's a, it's a mysterious
Yeah,
field.
all this, yeah, yeah, and they're all different. Like each way, there are so many methods, and there are so many layers to this reality. It's so, I feel this reality is stranger than the strangest science fiction movies or novels that we like. Nobody can make this up. Like nobody can, even if we think of it, even if we spend a lot of time making this up, we cannot. So that is, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I
well,
feel about my life. Yeah, you
yeah.
can't have made up how I got to Einstein.
Hello there. If you wish to understand the true nature of reality and learn about consciousness, conscious creation, and the teachings of the ancient Vedanta in order to live your life with purpose, achieve fulfillment, and consciously create a life that you truly want to live, then you can join our community come learning platform, the Advaitha Conscious Society. For more information, visit advaitha.com. Thank you.
Now coming to that question, so after all this, how did you come to channel Albert Einstein, and when did you like positively know that you were actually channeling Einstein?
When my first book came out,
Hmm.
Diaries of a Psychic Sorority, in 1998, 1997,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
got a literary agent to
Hmm.
shop the rights to the book because I thought it was a amazing story of what really just
Hmm.
happened to us. And
Hmm.
she got a
Hmm.
call from a tabloid in London. It was like a
Hmm.
paranormal,
Hmm.
metaphysical
Hmm.
aliens and
Hmm. Hmm.
Jesus on the side of the toast or whatever,
Hmm.
who wanted
Hmm.
an interview with Princess Diana from beyond the grave
Okay.
on the 1 year anniversary of her death. And would
Okay.
I do that? And
Okay.
skepticism.
Correct.
I
Uh,
was terribly skeptical because what?
uh,
This isn't
uh,
this is I've been working for world peace. We're doing conflict resolution. You want me
yeah.
to go to a tabloid, and I've never
Uh,
gone to a dead person to try to
okay.
see if
You were not.
they've.
Okay, okay. Until that point, you were never channeling dead people or talking to the dead or
Well,
anything.
when I started doing the group with the psychic sorority is when
Hmm.
I learned that not only could I talk to people who had passed on, but they came to
Hmm.
me.
Hmm. Hmm.
People didn't come to me and ask to talk to their dead person. The dead
Hmm.
person would show up and say, I need you to get
Hmm.
this message to my son or my daughter or
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
And
You
so,
could see them,
but,
or you could hear them. Like you could see them.
well, the way I describe it is that, okay,
Hmm.
I'm sitting in this chair, and if I look over there, I
Hmm.
don't see the dead person there. I see
Hmm.
the dead person here. Like
Hmm.
but not the physical, but still in the
Hmm. Hmm.
electromagnetic part of my imagination that we're sharing, the
Hmm.
subtle body that we're
Hmm.
sharing.
Hmm.
It's like I
Hmm.
feel it here. And then I
Hmm.
listen for what they say
Hmm.
and see how that resonates. But
Hmm.
one was um,
Hmm.
people I knew, their mothers, or
Hmm. Hmm.
but I also learned though that I could talk to and
Hmm.
communicate with a woman
Hmm.
in an Alzheimer's coma.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
could communicate to her family what she wanted and
Hmm.
what she was saying. And the
Hmm.
same, had a client whose autistic son was
Hmm.
36 and he'd never spoke a word. So
Hmm.
she hired me to sit, and she would ask me a question
Hmm.
and I would listen and tell
Hmm.
her.
Hmm.
2 sessions later, she knew
Hmm.
she could hear him herself. I
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
confirmed that they already had that
Hmm.
communication. So
Correct.
that was happening to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
as far as going to Princess Diana and on the
Hmm.
anniversary of her death and asking her
Hmm.
for an interview, that just sounded
Hmm.
so gratuitous and
Hmm.
weird to me.
Hmm.
But I did
Hmm.
it. I
Hmm.
thought, well, okay, let's just try it. What the heck?
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
channeled typing both the questions and the answers and
Okay.
printed it off and read it. and it had me weeping. It was so beautiful and in depth. And the overarching message that she ended with was to make peace. That if everybody who reads this in this tabloid listens to her and goes and makes peace, we can achieve this peace that we're going for. And I was taken aback by it.
And it's
the
strange how
tabloid,
everybody wants the same, like whoever channels and every higher dimension being wants peace and love to spread in the planet. So that's the common thread. Yeah.
yeah, and
Mm,
the purpose behind all of those
mm,
ancient oneness,
mm.
right, is to get
Yeah,
to
correct,
that expression, the manifestation of that oneness. So
correct. And
um anyway, they flew me out
mm,
to New York
mm,
and they interviewed
yeah,
me, and they didn't
mm,
want it, of course,
mm,
because it was about making peace. But
mm,
my agent and I said maybe there's other dead people who want to talk.
uh,
So we made a
uh,
list of people,
uh,
and some did and some didn't. And then
mm.
uh, Nicole Brown Simpson,
Okay, I don't know.
o- o-
Uh,
OJ Simpson, murdered his wife.
I've heard it. Ha.
Yeah.
Ha ha. Mm,
And that was profound. That was another
mm,
profound
mm,
interview. And
mm,
then when we got to John Kennedy,
mm,
he told us that they already
mm,
had been planning this, so
mm,
they were going to now just tell us who
mm,
was next. And
mm,
Albert
mm,
Einstein came up,
mm,
and when I didn't type his, I channeled his. This
mm,
was sound
mm, mm,
in my bones. It was sound.
mm,
It was sound
mm,
from them, and
mm,
probably it was the 5-year-old me climbing up onto the piano, figuring
mm,
out all the music, because Einstein was very
mm,
much a pianist as
mm,
well.
mm,
I mean, he was
mm,
a
mm,
violinist, but
mm,
music was very important to him.
mm,
So,
mm,
but was I still skeptical for several
mm.
years, to the
Oh.
point where I didn't want
Mm,
to say it was him, because I just
mm,
listened to the information,
mm.
but
Because
then it
immediately
finally,
it will, you'll be open to criticism. Like when you use names like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
and
Mm,
I didn't know.
mm,
I
mm,
mean, it's a beautiful imagination, and if it's all my imagination, then God
mm,
bless me, because that's a big
mm.
imagination, what happened here.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Yeah.
how that imagination could have manipulated the people who came in, who made such a part in the whole movement.
Mm,
I couldn't have done this alone
mm,
without
mm,
the psychic sorority and the testing it on the conflicts. And
mm,
but yes,
mm,
and after, I think when I really was ready
mm,
to truly say it, and even my book, it's called Imagining Einstein. It's not
mm.
called Channeling
Correct.
Einstein. It's like, maybe
Correct.
I'm just making the whole thing up. Listen to it
Correct.
anyway. Listen to what it's
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
And so
Mm,
yeah.
mm. So that is how you came to Einstein. The important thing that I wanted to ask about the unified field theory, and and even after this podcast, if you could share that map that you were speaking about with me,
Yes,
I
yes, I'll
will.
send you. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll share it. But please take your time and explain it from scratch. What is the unified field
Okay.
theory of Einstein? Mm,
Okay. Well, it begins where we first have to agree that at the root of everything is a mystery.
mm,
So at the root of everything is a mystery. And even
mm,
science, Edward Witten,
mm.
who coined the
String
term
theory.
M theory, yep, M
Mm,
theory, he
mm,
said M stands for any of these: mystery,
mm,
miracle,
mm,
manifestation,
mm,
and you can use those how you see fit when you're talking about
mm,
M theory.
mm,
So Einstein says, at
mm,
the root of everything is this mystery, but what brings this all to life is what he calls
mm,
compassion, with a capital C.
mm,
And
mm,
everything in this theory has its
mm,
very
mm,
unchangeable definitions, right? We all think
mhm,
compassion of love, this and that. No, these are very specific scientific definitions, and compassion is the fifth fundamental force of the universe. And it's the intelligence that uses the four fundamental forces to create the matter, the physical world.
The four
one step at a
fundamental
time.
forces:
Electromagnetics,
electromagnetic
gravity,
force, gravity,
strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear
weak
force.
nuclear force.
So electromagnetics, of course, ignites things. Gravity is like a guiding thing. Strong nuclear force is like repelling and attracting movement. And the weak nuclear force is transformation, like when something turns from red to green or 1 to 2, the transforming force. So compassion with the capital C is the intelligence that uses these forces to impel the creation of the physical world one step at a time. So out of nothing, out of absolutely nothing, the 0 point, it's compassion, and it has 3 influences on this that you are measurable. Okay. One is that it impels energy to step out of nothing and into everything and create a membrane domain that he calls a compilation of consciousness. So this membrane domain surrounds all the mathematics that's going to be you, and gives it a boundary, so to speak, but you still have the whole universe within there. But it's all about your mathematics. What DNA, space-time body, what latitude, what longitude, what time, space, all that stuff that eventually makes up this physical world.
At a certain dimension.
Yeah. So that the compass, the root of compassion, is like a compass that draws circles, right? So that's the influence compassion has. It makes energy draw these circles. The second thing it does is the compass that aligns us to true north. When you have a compass, you work with a compass, and you're always aligned to true north, whatever that is.
Yeah. During
Compassion
voyages.
takes these compilations and aligns them to the true north of the earth, so that we're all on the same map. You're going to be on the same map. I'm going to be on the same map. And it's actually 0 degrees is true north. If you look at a compass, the top is 0 degrees. So we're 0 degrees of separation from compassion. That's what we're made up of. And the third thing compassion does, it infuses all of the fractals with all of the truth that we're really just one being. So we know
Absolutely.
that. So that's what compassion does. It starts the impelling into this compilation, and then you have all of the Barbara With and all the stuff, and then the chair and everything. So the next step, this is one step at a time. The next step is when these create subsets. They start to, everything's starting to pull apart. So then it's either the weak nuclear force transforming from 1 to 2. And this is me and my body, and this is the outer world. And then the 2 of them go through one more transformation, so there's 3. And there's me and my body, the outer world, and then the part of me that can see both. And that's what Einstein calls the human intention, is that it starts this intention to intentionally create that you're going to be a human being. And from here, from this, and by the way, the source of all of this is in the center of the planet. The earth is like the center of the earth operates like a black hole.
Okay.
And
But this is with respect to our planet. Then let's say there is another planet, then it becomes.
Well, let's save that question for later, because you'll see why.
You continue. Yeah.
But just let's do the thought experiment. I just saw Brian Greene last couple months ago talk about how there is a smaller black holes, not just the big ones out there, but and that he believes it's in the center of the earth has that quality. I just heard him say that. So that's another validation. But anyway, so
Okay.
from this compilation, there's a gravitational wave that leaves the center of the planet, the source, and it's carrying everything it's needed to go to the surface of the planet, where when it gets through all those levels of subtle bodies and then it gets to the physical body, then you have the lens. And that's where the body is the projector and the perceiver of all of that math that's programmed in the source to create, right? We are the projectors of it and the perceivers of it. And the gravitational wave continues on into space. And because this is the microcosm and the macrocosm, this is the structure of our compilation as well as the structure of the earth. Is that literally there's a part of our gravitational wave that is coming through the entirety of the planet and helping to create it, goes back into the heavens, hooks up with the electromagnetic field of the earth, comes back down along the North Pole, back to the center of the earth, and it spins again. And it spins, and that's the spinning string that they're talking about. And it's spinning at the speed of light squared. Spinning at the speed of light squared. Now, what makes us human is that this reflection of these three in here, there's a part of us out in outer space, out on the edge of the electromagnetic field called the observer, and then the lens. And this is what he calls the mechanism of this human intention, that the lens serves to kind of comes like a prism. It comes down over that speed of light squared string, and it slows it down to the speed of light where it separates out, and now it's all manifesting. And so when our bodies die, that mechanism obviously sort of folds back up, but the string is still spinning, which is why when Einstein wants to speak through me, we can just get our strings together and, I can get out of the way and let that flow come through.
That frequency should match.
Yeah, there's some however it's done, I don't know. But so the last part of all this that I just want to drop in is, because this is really the part we work with on a practical level, is that from the source, gravitational wave to the lens is this non-physical world where we work with the three human dimensions. So the first level off of the gravitational, out of the chute, is emotion. And that then evolves up into the level of intuition. And then that gets up into the level of intellect. And by the time you're there, everything's getting ready to pull into form. And it's these three human dimensions that are conflicted right now in humanity. They have a way that they work together. They have a purpose that they serve, just like your heart does one thing and your kidneys do another. Your emotion is meant to do one thing, intellect is meant to do another, intuition, and they all work together. They're like an engine that works. And it's very broken right now because people are not listening. Intuition being the voice, the sound of compassion. The sound of compassion telling us the next most advantageous step for the good of the whole of this manifestation and of this math. And then it gets to the intellect where the ego is, and the ego's been given the free will to be able to say, no, I don't want to do all that. I'm going to go do this. And here we all are. So
Fighting each other.
And Einstein says that between the intuition, which is always going to tell us the next most advantageous step for the big picture, of course, that our intellect can't see, between those two, that relationship between intellect and intuition is where all the conflict in the world originates. Because if that was fixed and people, this is what we're doing with conflict revolution, we go in to learn where that's malfunctioning and what to do to right that. And when you start becoming this intuitive person who is committed to working for the good of the whole, starting with myself, like, don't let my mind get control. I mean, that's as simple as that. That's the good of the whole.
Correct.
And then also understanding the importance that we're all one body and we have to work for the good of the whole to be whole ourselves. So you're working in a new collaborative way. And yeah. So that's the unified field
Got it.
theory. And then
Yeah.
we break
I'm,
it out down into
yeah.
you go.
Yeah. I'm not sure, like the theory that you explained, I get it completely. I'll watch it again. But then, when all of this came to you, was it expressed in the form of words, or like, I wanted to ask, what do other scientists say about this? Like, can it be drawn out mathematically so that it makes sense at that level, or is it at a philosophical level?
I think it's like your friend who couldn't
Mm.
channel the other guy's language.
Exactly, yeah. Because
I
of
don't
the
channel
limitation of the channel. Yeah. Yeah.
the math.
Yeah,
But what
yeah.
he says
Because
is that
hmm,
this theory should spark the mathematicians
hmm,
to think
correct,
about that,
correct,
to do the math of it. It should inspire
correct,
them.
correct.
It's that frequency
So,
thing. You
yeah,
pick up a certain
so,
frequency. I pick up a certain frequency.
so,
Yeah.
so, though his understanding is at a different level, based on your the way you are, you receive a part of it or something like that. So, but what
Yes.
has like have you talked to any scientists or people in science regarding all this?
I haven't yet. I have people who
Mm,
are amateur scientists or science
mm,
teachers who have
mm,
informed and
mm,
given feedback along the way. But that
mm,
is where I'm going. That's my mission right now.
mm. Since you explained the unified field theory, I'll explain the basic premise of Advaita Vedanta, because again, I think it sits well together. So the teaching of these Upanishads that came to these ancient rishis, 10,000 years ago, they actually say that it is timeless. But for every cycle of creation, when humans evolve, this knowledge will be given and it will be transmitted. So they put it that way. But the basic premise of the teaching is that the fundamental reality of this universe is one pure consciousness. There is nothing else apart from it. But then within that consciousness, time, space, and causation is projected. So the word used is Maya. So within this framework of time, space, and causation comes all these the creation of the universe, and this individual being with our egos, we come into being. But these egos and these body and minds are just masks. In reality, that absolute God or consciousness is what is experiencing this individual perspective through this mask. This is how it is explained. And the interesting thing is, since you talked a lot about compassion, the name given to this absolute reality or God, which is beyond time, space, and causation, is Satchid Ananda. And Ananda translates to bliss or compassion. So this compassion is, explained as God. So compassion, this it's not compassion is not in the way that we use it. We use it loosely, right? But that bliss or compassion is the understanding of the unity of everything. That Satchidananda is described as the absolute God, which is beyond time, space, and causation, and within him the universe has emerged. It is explained in that way. So I think it sort of sits well with what you said.
Well, interestingly enough, when I wrote the book Einstein et al., which is the
Mhm,
illustrations, where the
mhm,
illustrations came, and like I said,
mhm.
I'll send you a map, and you can look
Yeah,
at the
sure.
map then as you hear the
Yeah,
description.
yeah.
Um,
It'll make more
that
sense. Yeah.
he says in the beginning, as the whole
Hmm,
introduction is that
hmm,
this
hmm,
this body of work that we're presenting to you is based on every spiritual experience that walked the earth, and then he lists off, whatever, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Sami, blah, 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 all the scientific geography, geology, everything, physical science, and then neurological, biological, psychological, like this is the theory of everything. So to hear you say that, and because I never knew that, but it's another moment where I'm thinking, all right,
Yeah.
it could be just my
Yeah, because
imagination, but
yeah,
it is something to
all of it together makes sense, because the way it is explained, this teaching resonates with me a lot, and I try to live by it every single day. So it is very elaborately explained. I'm just giving a summary of it. So basically, it is said that we, in our truest essence, is that uh, God, or that pure consciousness, which is compassion, which is bliss, which is all pervading, which is infinite. But since, because of the identification we have with our bodies and our minds and our egos, so this ego is it is just a fiction, it is created, and because of this fictional ego comes division, and because of this division comes all the wars and all the conflicts and everything else. But if we just remove the fiction that we have created, and if we just recognize our true nature for what it is, then that's all there is to it. That is how it is explained.
Yeah, and that fits into the theories that we talk about, where
Hmm.
you you can't really complete the separation, right?
Hmm.
There's a
Hmm.
non-judgmental utilitarian function of the
Hmm.
separation, why you're over
Hmm.
there and I'm over here and the glass is here.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's, I always say it's the difference between quitting smoking and dieting.
Hmm.
When you
Hmm.
quit
Correct.
smoking, you just quit doing it. But
Hmm.
now we have to
Correct.
figure out, how do
Uh,
we subtly master that
hmm.
into
Hmm.
intellectual relationship
Yeah.
at that massive
Yeah.
intellectual level
Yeah.
of ego.
Yeah. Yeah. This division is explained as an illusion. So, just for the purposes of your life, some kind of division is necessary, but that is not the way reality actually is. So that is what we need to recognize. The deeper level of reality is such that it is everything is one. So it is just everything is being projected in one. And the example that is you'll find this interesting. The example that is given here is of a dream. So when we dream different dreams, so within our dreams, we put ourselves as the dream ego, and we talk to different people, we interact with the dream world. It seems like there are a lot of people who have their own independent existence apart from us in the dream. But once we wake up, we realize that it was all made up in our mind. So it was all projected in our mind. Just like that, this universe is being projected in God, or that pure consciousness. And this separation is kind of just a illusion at this level, but it is not at the ultimate level.
Yeah, and Einstein says that the
Hmm.
realm of the
Hmm.
separate in the
Hmm.
lens
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
only about 10% of the whole operating
Hmm.
system. So it's
Hmm.
not like
Exactly.
it's not
Hmm.
real in there, functioning as
Hmm.
it should, but it's just
Yeah.
not the primary reality. And
Hmm.
now we get to be our whole selves outside
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
realm of the lens.
Hmm. But even based on what you explained about the unified field theory, compassion is in what everything happens. Does that make sense? Or
Compassion is like God. Yeah.
yeah, is God. So so if we think about it, if God has to create the universe, he can create it from nothing but himself, since he is the only thing that exists beyond universe. Let's say if God is compassion, and if God has to create the universe from something, he has to create it from himself. So there is nothing apart from that one source. So everything is that, but at a different manifestation of it.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
think of it as uh,
Hmm.
like all the different parts of a flower. You
Hmm.
need to have all these different parts of the flower, but it's still the same flower.
Hmm.
And I think the manifestation, I personally think that the
Hmm.
manifestation that's going on in the lens is where the joy is. It's where the dance manifests. It's where everybody gets to see what all that mathematics is meant to create. So yeah, but I totally get that. In the end, we're just one. We're just
Yeah.
one.
And what is your understanding, or what are your thoughts on manifestation, the teachings of law of attraction about creating our lives through our thoughts and intentions? Do you have anything to say about
Well, I wrote a piece years ago called "Why the Secret Doesn't Work and How to Fix
that?
It."
Hmm.
So I'm not a big purveyor of manifestation for manifestation's sake alone.
Hmm. Hmm.
I suppose the angels told us once it doesn't take any different amount of alchemy to
Hmm.
manifest a green pencil or a
Hmm.
red Ferrari.
Hmm.
It's just the red
Absolutely.
Ferrari has all this
Hmm.
intellectual thoughts about how
Hmm.
you're not worth it, and of
It,
course you can't do
yeah,
that, and
it's our
all that stuff.
education that is holding us. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Hmm.
also think that
Hmm.
we're called here to work for the good of
Hmm.
the whole right now.
Absolutely.
Maybe we could
Hmm.
coast by in civilizations where we're not
Yeah.
dedicated to that. But
Yeah.
the good news is that when we start and make
Hmm.
choices for the good of the whole of ourselves, and we
Hmm.
start to align
Hmm.
ourselves with compassion, is
Hmm.
what Einstein calls it,
Hmm.
aligned to compassion,
Hmm. Hmm.
then we start
Hmm.
to bring the change.
Hmm.
We become
Hmm.
that change to emanate
Yeah.
outward into the world. And
Hmm.
then the manifestations become in sync with that. So for
Hmm.
example, when I was
Hmm.
8 years old in my basement with
Hmm.
my hairbrush singing Heat Wave,
Hmm.
dreaming of
Hmm.
being a rock star,
Hmm.
that wasn't what I was supposed to do, but you couldn't have told me that for
Hmm.
the first 4
Hmm.
years of my life. That was what I was
Correct.
supposed to be doing. So,
Correct.
if we're not here to just
Hmm.
manifest everything at the drop of a hat, but
Yeah.
if we're working for the good of all
Hmm.
and we're taking care of
Hmm.
ourselves, then we can
Hmm.
manifest what's really highest good for us. And isn't that what we wanna
Correct.
do ultimately? Meaning and
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
It's not that the teachings are wrong or anything, but it's insignificant. It's like it's only looking at reality partially, like because like it's almost like empowering the ego, right? If we don't understand the mechanics of life, we are just empowering ego. Because I remember when I got the books, The Secret, I was young, I was in my college, and I wanted to get first rank in my class. That was my goal, and for 6 months I practiced it and I got it. But then its utility is simply that. Beyond that, to understand the nature of reality and to make
Mm.
significant impact to the world, I think what you are saying is important, to understand the reality in depth for what it is and doing something for the betterment of the entire world.
Yes, and
uh,
when we first started channeling the angels, when they were angels,
mhm, mhm,
they gave us, uh, we called it the 6 steps to peace. We did 6
mhm,
master sessions and
mhm,
transcribed them, and each was a piece about how to move out of, I call it like
mhm,
self-propaganda. When
mhm,
the voices of culture around us are mirrored in our heads, and
mhm.
so we're so attached, it's like it
Yeah.
gave us a way to break that self-propaganda until
Mhm,
step by step, what the last session was compassion and really understanding compassion in a new way.
mhm,
So we
mhm,
took that and created
mhm,
a workshop out of
mhm,
it and called Conflict Revolution.
mhm. So that is what conflict revolution is. And is that the message of Einstein and the party in the solution of conflict revolution?
Yes,
Mm,
that this is a step by step, this world peace, one person at a time, starting with the self,
mm,
and step by
mm,
step instructions
mm,
to once we get that between the source and the lens, that non-physical
mm,
3 human dimensions in line with
mm,
compassion,
mm,
feeling our feelings, listening to our intuition, having our intellect,
mm,
you know,
mm,
there to be in
mm,
present moment and inform and listen for intuition and make decisions intuition
mm,
wants.
mm,
Naturally, what's
mm,
being projected into the lens will change. Naturally, if we do it here,
mm,
as opposed to doing it here where we're trying to have ceasefires and you have to negotiate with
mm,
this and that.
mm,
That's whatever, well and good. But if we
mm,
all did this,
mm,
it would naturally manifest. It
mm.
does. On a microcosm, it
Yeah,
does. When I do it
yeah,
personally, I
yeah.
make things happen that I could never go at in the arena
Mm,
in which the conflict is being created. Just
mm,
beyond my imagination, things that resolve in
mm,
ways that are like
mm.
M theory, miraculous
Yeah,
manifestations. So
yeah. Mm,
that's my proof. That's why I'm no longer skeptical. After 35 years,
mm. Yeah,
I've concluded
yeah.
that this is it.
And the good news is science is slowly coming to know its own limitations. The 2004 Nobel laureate, I think his name was David Gross. So he has basically said time space reality itself is doomed. Like time space reality, which science thought was fundamental to existence, like every research and everything was done based on this assumption that space time was absolute and fundamental. Even that is being questioned now because of various things that are they have found. When it comes to spirituality, channeling, we know that it is beyond time space, because
Yeah.
whatever interaction whatever interactions that is happening and all the phenomena that is occurring, it's beyond time space. There is no time lag between all that. Yeah,
And I think those scientists are eventually going to find out that
absolutely.
while
Yeah,
it's not the primary reality, it's a part of the whole
yeah.
reality, but it's not the
Reality,
primary
yeah.
reality.
Fundamental.
So,
Yeah.
and now
and
there's all the
and
simulation stuff.
yeah, this entire universe is a simulation. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
But interestingly, that is what the Upanishad said around 10,000 years back. Just like how I explained, it is all an
See?
illusion. It is all made up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
just who's pulling the
yeah,
strings.
yeah. It's mind-boggling if we think about all this. And coming to one of the last questions, what is God to you? What does God mean to you?
Compassion, as we've talked
Hmm,
about, that God
hmm,
is, I am God,
hmm,
and God is
hmm,
compassion, and it's my
hmm, hmm,
responsibility to
hmm,
uh, make decisions
hmm.
like a God who is in charge of everything, not just
Correct.
one thing, not one
Hmm,
aspect, but the
hmm,
oneness of the whole. So that keeps me
hmm, hmm,
daily
hmm,
basis monitoring
hmm,
myself, witnessing myself,
hmm,
making sure.
hmm,
And
hmm.
that's all we can do, I think. The best we can
Yeah,
do is to love ourselves
yeah,
and hold ourselves responsible.
yeah. Correct. And if you had to explain all that you have learned throughout your life, through your life experience, through studying different books, if you had to distill all of it, in a few sentences about the nature of reality, about decoding reality, what would you say?
I'd say physical reality,
Hmm,
10%.
hmm,
Non-physical reality, 90%.
hmm.
It's our time to explore that mystery. I think
Hmm.
it's a mystery, and I love that.
Yeah,
Love that part of
yeah,
it.
yeah. And there's a lot that we don't know about this reality. And finally, Barbara, thank you for spending
Thank
time with
you.
us. And it was lovely. And maybe we can do it some other time where we can go deeper into some of these concepts. And
I would love
please tell,
to.
yeah, please tell people where they can find you, your books, and
Yes,
how can they reach you? Yeah.
Barbara with BARBARAWITH.com. That's
Hmm.
me. Also,
Hmm. Hmm.
synergyalliance.llc. That's all the books. I'm on Amazon as well, but yeah, you can look
Hmm.
me up there.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. And we'll make sure to
Thank you.
link all
Wonderful
that up.
conversation.
Yeah, it
Thank
was
you.
really wonderful. Thank you. Namaste. Bye bye. Yeah.
Namaste.